Hey, good Tuesday evening, everyone. State Representative Brad Halbrook here, along with Leader Chairman of the Freedom Caucus, Chris Miller, and Leader Adam Niemerg and Leader David Freeze. Welcome, gentlemen, to another Tuesday night roundtable as we kind of dive into this really, really hot topic about how Texas legislators are freeing their homeland to come to the land of fugitives, where they are. How should I say that, Chris? They're welcomed with the red carpet, and the governor is abetting their fugitivity. Fugitivity. How's that? Is that a word?
That's perfect.
It is now.
Right. I'm just not, Counselor Freeze. I'm just not up on these legal terms like you might be. So maybe you should have maybe coached me on that a little bit. So anyhow,
you did great. You did great.
Well, we got to have a little humor to the whole deal, and it never hurts to make up words from time to time. So anyhow, unlike our colleagues in the House or the Senate that just make up weird laws and things that never work. We may make up a few words, and I don't think that hurts anybody. So anyhow, all right. With that, I think we're just going to go around robin here about this subject about these Texas legislators coming to Illinois to be welcomed by our governor's wide arms, and kind of what's going on with that. So with that, let's go to Chairman Leader Miller.
Well, I think that one of the first things that you have to know that this is just a political gimmick or a political stunt brought to you by our governor, because one of the tactics is they're always trotting out a shiny object that they want you to look at while they're really doing something different. And what JB's doing in real time is he's destroying the middle class here in the state of Illinois. And so all of this gerrymandering talk and the Texas legislators come up here is just smoke and mirrors to try to distract you from the real issue that crime is out of control, quality education is not here in the state, and the biggest driver, we no longer have cheap, affordable, reliable energy. And those are the things that JB Pritzker doesn't want you to talk about. And, Texas legislators are mad because the Democrats are, and they really feel like they're being intruded upon by their own colleagues on there when they're having to take a little bitter pill of their own medicine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Leader Niemerg, I don't know where you might want to go with this. I just wanted to kind of highlight this quote. I mean, Pritzker blasts Texas for gerrymandering while he stands on top of the most gerrymandered maps in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, folks watching, the four of us, we lived through a remapping process. And when the governor brings up folks from Texas, legislators from Texas, which I'm all for bringing Texas legislators to Illinois, they're just the wrong ones that he's bringing in. It's a situation where it really makes you scratch your head, because we went through a redistricting process where basically they just map it around Republicans' home addresses. We lost 5 seats in the House. We lost a congressional seat. The governor campaigned on fair maps that he would not sign a gerrymandered map, but he signed 2 gerrymandered maps, and in the midst of that decided to sign a Supreme Court map that the Supreme Court wasn't redrawn for 70 years. But he decided it was time to redraw the Supreme Court map so he could have more power here in the state of Illinois. So it's massive hypocrisy, and it's really the sleight of hand that the Democrats use. They come out and they trot these pie in the sky ideologies and say, oh, this is terrible what's happening in Texas. Well, he's done it before here, even worse. And then on other issues, it's a constant sleight of hand. And we see the Democrats doing it here once again. And I don't know where he's going to house these legislators. I know that the FBI is looking for him right now, maybe some of his Hyatt hotels, but I think they're full of illegals. So I'm not sure where he's going to put them.
That's exactly right. And Counselor Freeze, one of the committees I sit on appropriations, we had the Supreme Court justice before us a few years ago. And I asked her about why the Supreme Court maps and all that had never been redistricted since the early 60s or whenever it had been the 50s. And she said, she just went on about, oh, we need all this diversity and we need all this on and on and on. I mean, she really laid it on why they had not redistricted that judicial map in all those years. But then, Adam, to your point, at the very moment they needed to redistrict it, when it became politically expedient for them to do it, guess what?
Yeah.
He did it.
I tell you, when I saw that headline and I saw Pritzker there with his open arms, as you said, welcoming these guys, I had to laugh out loud. I mean, having gone through the remapping process and seeing what these yahoos do, I laughed out loud. It was hilarious, and the frustrating part about this is everybody that says, hey, we need representation of somebody that looks like me. It honestly, it's pure racism.
Mhm.
Because if I stood up and said, I need somebody between the age of, some white male between the age of 50 and 60, some skinny guy to represent me, I'm going to be called a racist. So skin color should not be an issue. National origin should not be an issue. It's racism. It is. And we need to get away from it.
Right.
And let's not forget, guys, that the Mexican American Legal Defense Fund, Pritzker's touting, this is racist ideology and identity politics when it comes to Texas remapping. Mexican American Legal Defense Fund, they sued the governor over these maps because they thought they were racist. So if that tells you anything right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, I forgot to bring up my slides, but here's kind of the situation. The governor is harboring these truant Texas dams. It's kind of our headline. And, of course, this is really all about, I think, the governor's personal ambitions to be the leader of the world's freest nation. And he just, it's like evidently he's just bored with Illinois and is intrigued with maybe running for president. Chris?
Well, there's one thing that we can all discover when we're looking at all these tactics is that you can conclude that JB Pritzker is not ready for prime time because he has no solutions to any problems. I mean, he's flooded the state of Illinois with illegals that's been on the taxpayers' back and, spent someplace between $2.5 billion and $4 billion on illegals rolling out the red carpet. It's really no surprise that he wants to harbor these Texas legislators. But one thing about it is we know that there's no reason to look in JB's house for them because they don't have enough bathrooms there to facilitate the necessities of life if they spend any time there at all. So we can
they have bathrooms, they just don't have toilets.
Unfortunately, probably if you're using the bathroom, you're going to need a toilet.
Yeah. Well, guys, I wish we had $1 for every time we heard the governor talk about how evil Governor Abbott was for sending the busloads of these illegal aliens to Illinois. But evidently, that's not a problem with this busload of aliens that have come to Illinois.
If you go back and watch their press conference they did the other night up in one of the suburbs in Chicago, it's pretty obvious that JB and all these clowns have Trump derangement syndrome. Because if you go back and count the number of times that they mentioned Donald Trump, and it's just laughable. And there's one thing that I can tell you for sure is none of the problems that we see exist here are Donald Trump's fault. I'm sorry, but that dog won't hunt.
Okay. Well, Chris, you're absolutely right. And then you look at the Grain Belt Express line, the $4.9 billion project that Trump, he essentially stopped that for now. Now they've said that they're going to try to come up with private money to fund that, but that's going to be very difficult to come up with $5 billion to fund a failing green scam. So yeah, it's Trump derangement syndrome at a massive level.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have more press conferences from our governor, and the pension issue will be Trump's fault. Energy crisis will be Trump's fault. Yeah, go on down the line. Everything, crime in the city of Chicago is going to be Trump's fault. You're right, Chris. Everything is Trump's fault, regardless of what the hell it is.
Well, and the governor's right on cue. So 2 weeks ago, right, he announced after that because we have these high electric rates in the state of Illinois now because of the subsidies for wind and solar was pulled out in the big beautiful bill or whatever, right? I'm like, wait a minute. I think Ameren announced back in April that there was going to be, and ComEd announced in April or May. Okay, so the governor evidently doesn't remember that press release from those two utility companies back earlier this spring. Now all of a sudden, mid-July, these electric rates were going through the roof, and it was Trump's fault because he had canceled all the funding to go to these wind and solar projects. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no, all that's a result of MISO having to go out onto the open market and bid for electricity during peak months of July and August.
Right. So I guess the bottom line is send them home. Texas should issue warrants to get these derelict legislators rounded up and back into their home state. Any closing thoughts before we move on to the next one, gentlemen?
Don't believe a word Pritzker says.
That's excellent advice. We know from experience.
We'll just leave it at that.
Right, exactly. Well, and everyone that's tuning in tonight, today is kind of a momentous day if you're running for elected office in the state of Illinois. I suppose maybe I think the judicial system may have a little different schedule. I'm not sure. But so if you're running for a countywide office, if you're running for a statewide office, today was the day to start getting signatures. And boy, what really helps is lots of volunteers, lots of people to help us collect these signatures. I think our number for representatives is 500 signatures for each one of us to turn in. We got about 85, 90 days to get this done. And so today was the first day. They moved it up a month. Gentlemen, we used to start right after Labor Day, but they moved it up into the month of August, August the 5th today. So with that, anybody have any comments or thoughts here about any of the petition work?
Yeah, if we're always looking for volunteers, anybody willing to grab a clipboard and knock doors or go to an event for us and help you with whatever you need on getting those petitions completed and back to us. But any volunteers, any help is very much appreciated.
Right. Yeah, David, Chris, anything?
No, I just follow with Adam. You know, it's we rely on a lot of people to help us out in that respect. Not that we don't mind meeting 500 people, but it's a lot of doors to knock or people to see, and we do appreciate all the help.
Right. Yeah. Well, I started with 4 volunteers today. I don't think any of them had knocked before, and they kind of enjoyed the day, and we did pretty well. So yeah, it was good. Good day, Chris.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo what everybody else has said, and we covet the volunteers that will step up and help us get these signatures. It's, it's like it says in the Proverbs that many hands make light work. And so if everybody jumps in and even just gets one sheet, that we can get the 500 pretty quick, get the 1,000 pretty quick. Otherwise, it's a monumental task if we're left by ourselves to do it. Plus, it's a great way to go out and make new friends and meet people and encourage them to vote for us and other like-minded brethren out there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and just a couple of reminders, this is for the March 2026 primary, and that will ultimately get us to the November 2026 ballot. I think this point here that's highlighted in yellow, just a word of caution out there. As a constituent, don't just simply vote for somebody without kind of quizzing them. This is a great opportunity to meet candidates and legislators that you may never have had an opportunity to meet. And so this is a great opportunity, but it's a good time. I mean, I kind of don't some days get very many signatures because I have a lot of long conversations at the front door. It's not uncommon to have a 20 or 30-minute conversation at the front door talking about the issues of the day. And I really enjoy that. I don't get any signatures, but I enjoy talking to folks at their front door. So I would encourage people to ask questions when somebody comes.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go into the next one here. This is a couple of events we got coming up. August 23rd, we've got the ballot chase training. This will be our third one. This is in Carmi, kind of southeastern Illinois. And then a little Freedom Caucus kind of town hall situation up in Pekin on the 20th of September. I guess this a little bit out of either one of our territory. I don't know who all of us will be at those events to help with those things, but be some of us there. So, and again, the best way, I'll move into this slide, the best way to keep up to date is to go to the website, and we can touch on that too, gentlemen. Maybe we need to make sure everybody knows the best way to find our websites to help with this political work, if you will. And then, of course, to join the Substack, that's a great tool to keep up to date with all of us, is the Substack. And with that, anything you guys want to add about either one of these events? David, was there ballot training kind of in your neighborhood recently?
We had one in Belleville, Fairview Heights area, and I'm working with Colin to try and get one in Randolph County and Perry County. I talked to the committee leader over there, and we're going to try and coordinate that. You know, if we can statewide pick up another 10% Republican, that'll make a difference, you know. And we got to tell everybody your vote does count.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's unfortunately because sometimes the numbers we're a little lackadaisical, but we got to get the voters out. We got to, you know, we're never going to win if we sit on our duff. We've got to get out there and work it.
Right.
Well, one thing that I think is important for everybody to realize is we need to crunch the numbers county by county, because typically Republicans just don't vote in the midterm, and I don't know why, but there'll be a huge difference between the people that vote in the presidential and those that vote in the midterm. And I mean, I have Douglas County, which is a smaller county, and you know, there's 3,500 registered Republicans that historically don't vote in the midterm. Mm-hmm. And I know that I was at Douglas County last night encouraging them to chase ballots and actually go out and it's not like you have to worry about knocking on a hostile door. These are Republican voters. You can document their Republican voters. It's just that they don't vote in the midterm.
Yeah.
And so all you got to do is go knock on a friendly door, get them to apply for a mail-in ballot, follow up with them, and make sure they cast their vote. Yep. And if we do this county by county all over the state of Illinois, you know, we can turn Illinois red, but
get rid of Pritzker. Wouldn't that be a treat? Yeah, that should be a motivation right there.
Really, the last category is votes that we need to beat Pritzker, and all we need in Douglas County is 660 more votes, and there's 17 precincts, so you can do the math, and that's just not that many votes to go out and get per precinct.
Right.
And so
yeah.
But my thoughts
I think, Chris,
go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think when you break it down at that number, I mean, I think, gentlemen, it was like roughly 700,000 more people voted for Trump than did Pritzker 2 years prior. Right. But that seems like a huge, enormous number, and it is a big number. But Chris, like you've taken it, broken it down to the county level, to the precinct level, 50 votes or whatever it might be, plus or minus per precinct. That's not a super large number. And again, you're right. These are friendly Republican voters that just need some encouragement to come out and vote in these midterms.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about getting the door slammed in your face going to these households. You know, I mean, this is a safe spot. It's just a matter of going out and getting the votes, because together, if we work together and we do, it's like I told the guys at Douglas County last night, you just worry about Douglas County. You just worry about getting these 660 votes and let Coles County worry about themselves, Moultrie, Shelby, all the above, wherever you live. Let them worry about it. And you just take care, you control what you can control. Right. And that's what happens in your county.
Yeah. Adam, what's going on? What's your thoughts about all this?
Oh, Chris is absolutely right. And midterms, you know, we have an opportunity to get rid of Pritzker. Mm-hmm. And people need to get out and vote. I mean, we saw that with last governor's election. The turnout wasn't where it needed to be. So Chris is absolutely right. We need to get the vote turnout. We need to get people out. And, you know, if you want to vote same day, hey, that's great. No worries there at all. But, you know, Republicans traditionally like to do that. But Democrats have a system, and they have a system that they've worked on a long time. Ballot harvesting, same-day voting, same-day registration, mail-in ballots, registering people, then mailing them in, taking them in. You know, that's why it's important to do these ballot initiatives when it comes to the education on what you can and can't do on these election cycles. So it's very important. We got to get down in the mud with these folks, because that's the only way we're going to win.
Yeah, exactly. Well, gentlemen, we're bumping up close to 20 minutes into this conversation. I think we're going to close it out here. I know we've had some commenters wanting to know about some of these bills that the governor has signed recently, the safe storage bill, the mental health bill. I guess I'd make a pitch, if you want to know more about gun bills and what have you, is I'm going to be in Gun Safe Live in Mount Zion tomorrow night. I think we all probably try to get to our respective areas for Gun Safe Lives, and that's always good to do that. But I'm going to kind of give a spring session update tomorrow night in Mount Zion. And Chris, I know you get out and about. Adam, I'm sure, and David. So those would be good things. And then tune in next Tuesday, because these are probably going to be the subjects. I think next Tuesday we'll touch on the mental health bill and probably the the safe storage bill, and some of those many other topics. But just for sensitivity of everybody's schedule and for time tonight, I think we'll close it out there, unless there's some closing comments of any of you three gentlemen.
Have a nice night.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. Very good. And thank you all for tuning in. Like, share, follow, and subscribe to our content to help us overcome the algorithmic gods of the big tech overlords. Have a great evening.
Take care, guys.